Okay, so I'm here to talk about Raw. So Raw came on at 8 a.m., which I totally forgot. So I just finished watching Raw, which I'm glad because I work nights and I was probably going to miss Raw. Can't have your cell phone out at work. So Raw was okay. And the reason Raw was okay is because everyone's getting low ratings. So creative have to mix it up. People were tired of the vision. The bronze couldn't grow inside the vision. But they had to break that up. So we got a good match from Dominic and Penta. You know, this was an okay match. Dirty Dom is living up to his dirty tricks. You know, he's being Eddie Guerrero Jr. at this point. And fans love it. If Eddie Guerrero did it and got over, so is Dominic. Dominic is Eddie Guerrero Jr. I'm sorry. That's Dominic. Next, Rhea versus Kairi Sane. It was a good match. And honestly, I like the way it ended. Honestly, you know, Asuka smacking Kairi is... Ooh, it's making the fans pissed. You know, we love Asuka. But Asuka doing it is... Ooh... It's making the fans mad. And, you know, it's a great heel. That's all I'm saying. You know, Kairi brought out that kendo stick, so it's getting real. Now, they're going to have a hardcore match. We know it's coming. Honestly, like, I hope they give us... Well, I hope they get into War Games. You know, I'm going to make maybe another video on that, on what I think the women's War Games going to be. But hopefully, you know, it's the Kabuki Warriors and, you know, some other heels versus, you know, Rhea, Io, and maybe Charlotte and Alexa Bliss or something, you know, maybe something like that. You know, Rhea won that. Then you had Jimmy Uso versus Bronson Reed. If you thought Jimmy Uso was winning this match, you know, sorry, but not sorry. You know, Jimmy will probably never get that World Heavyweight title. I mean, he got to get the Intercontinental, the U.S. title, something. They don't know really what to do with Jimmy. You know, maybe if Jey Uso takes some time off, they could push Jimmy, but you can't push them both at the same time. Next, no one really cared about this Bayley and Lyra. Like, we don't care. I'm sorry. Break that shit up. We don't care. Moving on. Triple threat. CM Punk wins the triple threat. So, you know, him and Seth gonna be feuding till WrestleMania. I'm sorry. Him and Seth gonna be feuding till WrestleMania. Now, the big turning point everybody talking about is after the Vision came out, beat up Jay, beat up LA Knight, beat up CM Punk. You know, Braun speared everybody. And, you know, Seth is in the ring like, yeah, you know, my faction did his thing, blah, blah, blah. Boom! He spears Seth. Then he tells Bronson Reed, you with me or against me? You know, make your choice. Hell, boom. He went with Braun. Boom, Tsunami. Paul Heyman. Boom. He's with the Vision. I guess the new Vision or whatever you want to call it. But I hope Braun recruits maybe 2 new people from NXT, you know, or recruit some people that's on Raw but not on Raw. You know, talent that's not being used. It is time to push them up. Honestly, the NXT stuff, you know, I mean, he probably not going to recruit Trick Williams, but, you know, bring some of those guys up. You know, hey, get Obafemi on your team. Something like that. Give us some new stuff. Give us new talent that can be a faction with Braun. These two could be a tag team, but y'all gonna wear it out. They're gonna be wore out too much. Make the Bronze and Paul Heyman bring up 3 new talents that are menacing and make them fight at War Games. Let them start fighting right now, building up this story. And, let them lose at War Games, but at least you put in some new people. Turn Jey Uso heel. Jey Uso, kind of still young a little bit, but, put him in that faction. It's time for some new talent. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, I think they're doing a great job on Raw. Every time they come out, they look menacing. There's some heels. But I think putting them two in a leadership role, of a faction with Paul Heyman would be good. They could bring in one more person, or the biggest thing is just the titles. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, they both want that title. You also have Bronson Reed feuding with Roman, because feuding with Roman, for this fake tribal chief position or getting some clout from Roman, you would think he would want the title. Dominic got that Intercontinental, but that's in a whole different range. So, it's kind of hard for them to both be leaders, but it looks like Braun is the leader. I don't know. You almost have to have, I would think, some more talent in there, but if I had to be honest, I think they're going to keep it how it is, get them to War Games, and then it's over with. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking they're going to keep this faction until War Games. They're going to probably meet each other at the Royal Rumble and betray each other or something like that. I don't know. And then that's over with. Paul Heyman's probably going to go back to Brock Lesnar, for that. That's what I'm thinking. But, WWE, they had to shake things up because, people are tired of seeing the same exact nonsense on Raw. How many times the Judgment Day, gonna fight in, 3 matches of Raw? How many times are we gonna see Bayley and Lyra 3 times on Raw? Seeing Becky Lynch and Maxine was people was like, yes, something different, God, Io and Rhea, we always like to see them, but them fighting the Kabuki Warriors is something different. Like, we happy to see that. Breaking up the Vision, we need that. At some point, Raw got so stale, Roman couldn't save Raw. Roman can't save Raw. We are just happy, maybe when Chad Gable come back, maybe when we get like Ivy now, like, where is Ivy now? Where is Alpha Academy? Where is American Made? You have all this talent, y'all not losing, so y'all gotta do something with it. Y'all ruined El Grande Americano. Like, y'all ruined that. He's an AAA talent now. So, y'all got to do something different. I think we're going in the right direction. We just going to have to see the road to Survivor Series is going to be special. That's all I'm going to say. The road to Survivor Series has to be special. And y'all, just put in the comment section y'all theories about what's going to happen on next week's Raw and the road to Survivor Series. Peace.